All right, welcome everyone. Today we're heading into the kitchen. But trust me, we are not making dinner. Nope, we're gonna get a little creative and turn some super simple, everyday ingredients into something vibrant, playful, and, well, completely edible body paint.
So, let me ask you something. What if your art was also your dessert? Seriously, think about that. The canvas is skin, and the paint is delicious. That is exactly what we are diving into today. We're gonna transform your kitchen into an artist studio and make some seriously fun and, yeah, seriously tasty body art.
Okay, so here's the game plan for our little creative journey. We'll start with the ground rules, safety first, always. Then we'll get into the good stuff, crafting the paint itself, all the different finishes. After that, we'll mix up our own custom colors. And to wrap it all up, we'll go over some pro tips for application. Sound good? Let's go.
All right, section 1, the ground rules. Before we can even think about painting, we've got to prepare. Safety is the foundation for all the fun, so let's get this right.
Okay, listen up, because these rules are absolutely non-negotiable. First, you always have to do a 24-hour patch test on your inner forearm. Super important to check for any sensitivities. And this should go without saying, but use only 100% food-grade ingredients. I mean, you'd eat them, right? Also, never apply this to broken skin or, mucous membranes. Once you're done playing, store any leftovers in an airtight container in the fridge. It'll last for about 3 days. And the best part? It washes right off with just some warm water and a little bit of mild soap. Easy.
All right, with the safety stuff covered, let's get to the really fun part, crafting the paint itself. We're talking about the different finishes you can make, everything from a flat matte all the way to a super high gloss shine.
So the magic word here is sheen. That's really just a fancy way of saying how glossy or shiny the paint is when it dries. And the secret to controlling that sheen? It's all about 2 super simple ingredients, corn syrup and vegetable glycerin. That's it. That's the whole secret.
And check this out, the formula is so simple. Look at this chart. On the far left, for a matte finish, you're using practically 0 corn syrup and just a tiny bit of glycerin. But as you move across to the right towards that high gloss finish, you see how we just keep bumping up the amount of corn syrup and glycerin? It is literally that simple. More of those 2 key ingredients means you get a whole lot more shine.
No matter which finish you're going for, the basic process is pretty much the same. So let's use the satin finish as our example. It's a really popular one. First up, you're gonna whisk together your dry stuff. That's the cornstarch and powdered sugar. Easy. In another bowl, mix up all your wet ingredients: water, corn syrup, glycerin. Now here's the most important part. You have to gradually whisk the dry mix into the wet mix. Go slow. This is how you get it perfectly smooth and avoid lumps. To finish it off, you'll stir in some fractionated coconut oil until it's fully blended in. And that's it. You've just made your paint base.
So we've got our blank canvas, this beautiful smooth paint base. Now it's time to become a master artist and mix our palette. This is where the real creativity kicks in.
Okay, so here's the big trick. You don't just dump food coloring into the whole batch of paint. No. The smart way to do it is to make these little things called concentrates first. Think of them like super potent little shots of color. You make these powerful concentrates, and then you just mix a little bit into your paint base. It gives you way more control. And this is a perfect example of the kind of flexibility we're talking about. Let's say you want to make green. You've got 2 paths you can take. You could go all natural, right, using stuff like fresh spinach juice or matcha powder, or you can play color scientist and mix your blue and yellow concentrates together to get the exact shade of green you're looking for. You've got options.
But hey, who says we have to stick to regular colors? Why not get a little extra with it? Yep, it's time to add some sparkle. You'd be shocked at how easy this is. All you do is take some edible luster dust. You can find gold, silver, all kinds of colors, and mix it with just a tiny bit of vodka or even lemon extract. Now, the reason for the alcohol is that it helps all those little sparkly bits float around instead of clumping up. Then you just stir in some glycerine to make a paste, and bam! You've got a metallic concentrate ready to make any color shine.
And this right here, this is your secret weapon, your color mixing cheat sheet. With just a few basic concentrates, you can create a whole rainbow. So, you want a specific color like, say, lavender? It's just 3 parts purple and 2 parts white. How about teal? 2 parts blue, 1 part green. You see? Once you've made your primary concentrates, the possibilities are seriously endless.
Okay, let's recap. We've got our paint base, we've got our custom colors, now it's time for the final act, the masterpiece. Let's talk about how to apply this stuff and some pro tips to really bring your art to life.
So this is super important. The finish you chose should really guide what you do with it. That matte paint? It's perfect for detailed art, maybe using stencils with a really fine brush. The satin finish is your workhorse, for covering bigger areas or for blending colors, so grab a flat or angled brush for that. And that super shiny high gloss, you want to use that for dramatic effects, for those little shiny highlights. A wide flat brush works great. So yeah, matching the paint to the brush is a game changer.
Okay, time for some quick troubleshooting. Let's say you mixed everything up and your paint is just too thick. It's more like a paste. What do you do?
Super simple fix. Just add some water. But, and this is key, do it 1 teaspoon at a time. Mix it in really well, check the consistency, and then add more if you need it. Slow and steady is the way to go.
All right, next problem. What if it's the opposite? Your paint is all watery and just won't stay where you put it.
Now here's a pro tip for you. Don't just dump dry cornstarch into your paint. You'll get nasty clumps. Instead, take a teaspoon of cornstarch in a little bowl, add a tiny bit of water, and mix it into a smooth paste. That's called a slurry. Then you can whisk that slurry right into your paint, and it'll thicken up perfectly. No lumps at all.
And if you remember only one thing about application, let it be this: layer, layer, layer. Seriously, if you want those deep, rich, vibrant colors, don't just put on one thick, goopy coat. Instead, paint a thin coat, let it dry for a moment, and then add another thin coat on top. I promise you, the result will look so much richer and way more professional.
So there you go. That is the complete blueprint. Everything you need to know, from the safety basics and the chemistry of the finishes, all the way to color mixing and application tips. You have all the tools. So the only question left is, what are you going to create first?